I said, look at me when I'm talking to you. Madison Pierce's voice cracked through the auditorium like glass shattering. The crowd fell silent. The tassels stopped swaying. The hum of celebration froze mid-cheer. Everyone turned toward the center aisle, where Madison, her graduation gown glittering under the lights, stood trembling with rage. Across from her, Olivia Brooks clutched her diploma, her knuckles white around the folder. Please, she whispered, voice shaking. Not here. Not here. Madison scoffed, eyes flashing. You think you can just walk across that stage and pretend you earned that medal? Gasps rippled through the crowd. Faculty members exchanged alarmed looks. The dean, standing at the podium, hesitated, unsure whether to intervene. Olivia swallowed hard, forcing herself to meet Madison's glare. I worked for it, she said softly. Every night, every weekend. Worked? Madison cut her off, her laugh sharp and cruel. Don't play the victim, Olivia. Everyone knows you got a free ride because this school loves a good charity case. A murmur spread through the rows of caps and gowns. Someone whispered, she's losing it. Another said, is this being recorded? Madison stepped closer, the clack of her heels echoing. My father built half of this university, she hissed. His donations put that roof over your head, that chair under you, that gown on your back. And this, she pointed at the gold medal gleaming around Olivia's neck. This was supposed to be mine. The next second came like lightning, bright, sharp, and impossible to undo. A slap. The sound cracked through the air, louder than the applause that had filled the room minutes earlier. Olivia's head jerked sideways, her cap tumbling to the floor. The audience gasped. Parents stood, students covered their mouths. Cameras rose in trembling hands. For a heartbeat, time stopped. Madison's chest heaved, her face flushed with fury, and something else, something close to panic. Olivia didn't cry. She didn't shout. She just looked up, eyes shining with quiet disbelief, one hand pressed to her stinging cheek. From the back row, a deep voice cut through the stunned silence. That's enough. The crowd turned as a tall man rose from his seat. His suit was plain, his presence commanding. His voice carried the weight of someone used to being heard. Who do you think you are, young lady? He said, stepping forward. Madison blinked, her jaw tightening. I'm my father. I know who your father is, the man interrupted calmly. And I know who she is. His gaze softened as he looked at Olivia. Because I hired her mother 10 years ago. She cleaned my offices every night so her daughter could study. Whispers swept the room. Madison's smirk faltered. The man continued, his tone steady but sharp. You talk about privilege like it's a crown you earned. But that medal, he pointed toward Olivia. That medal belongs to someone who fought for it when the world told her she couldn't. Someone who worked while others slept. Madison's lip trembled. For once, she couldn't find a single word. The dean finally spoke, his voice heavy with disappointment. Miss Pierce, please leave the stage. Madison's face went pale. You can't. Now. Security moved quietly toward her, and the audience parted in silence as Madison stumbled down the aisle, her confidence dissolving with every step. Olivia stood still, heart pounding, tears threatening to spill. The man, her boss's voice now familiar, nodded at her, a small, proud smile breaking through. Go on, Miss Brooks, he said. Finish your walk. The hall erupted in applause. This time, the sound wasn't forced or polite. It was thunderous, united, and real. Olivia lifted her chin and walked across the stage again. Not to claim the medal, but to reclaim her dignity. When she turned to face the crowd, Madison was gone. But the lesson she left behind wasn't. The crowd shifted uneasily, a ripple of whispers rolling through the hall as a tall man rose from the faculty section. His presence silenced even the murmurs. The robe on his shoulders hinted at authority, but it was the look in his eyes, cold, steady, commanding, that made Madison Pierce falter for the first time that day. You dare raise a hand to my daughter? His voice rang out, calm but sharp enough to cut through the stunned silence. Gasps spread like wildfire. Professors turned to one another, whispering. Parents craned their necks. Olivia Brooks froze mid-breath, her diploma clutched tight against her chest. Dad, she whispered, tears threatening to fall. Madison blinked, her confidence collapsing. Your daughter? She stammered. The man nodded once. Yes, Olivia Brooks is my child. I'm Robert Hayes, director of the University Alumni Foundation. The name hit like a thunderclap. Every faculty member in the room knew it. Robert Hayes wasn't just another administrator. He managed the entire network that connected the university to its wealthiest graduates, the people who funded scholarships, internships, and careers. Madison's face drained of color. I didn't know, she stuttered. That much is clear, Robert said coolly. His gaze dropped to his daughter's face, the red imprint of the slap standing out against her dark skin. His jaw tightened. You humiliated her. In front of hundreds. Because you couldn't stand to see someone earn what you thought you were owed. Madison shook her head wildly. You don't understand. She doesn't even. Doesn't even what? Robert demanded. Doesn't even look like the people you think belong here? Doesn't come from your world of money and comfort. Her lips quivered, but no words came. Robert turned to Olivia, his tone softening. Tell them, sweetheart. Tell them why you chose to work when I could have opened every door for you. Olivia hesitated, hundreds of eyes fixed on her. Then she drew in a steady breath. Because I didn't want my name to carry me. I wanted my effort to. My dad taught me that respect can't be bought, it's earned. I worked those jobs because I wanted to prove I could stand here on my own. I didn't need a handout. I needed a chance. The crowd stirred. Professors exchanged approving glances. Students nodded. A few wiped their eyes. Madison's voice trembled with disbelief. You're lying. If he's your father, why hide it? Why pretend to struggle when you had everything? Olivia's eyes locked onto hers. Because I didn't want anyone to think success was easy. And because, unlike you, I don't hide behind my father's name. I don't need it to feel important. Her words hit harder than the slap ever could. A low murmur of agreement rose from the audience. Someone whispered, she earned it. Another said, she's right. Robert stepped forward, his voice commanding once more. This university was built on integrity, not inheritance. Hard work, not entitlement. And today, Miss Pierce, you've shown none of that. Madison's face burned red. Please, she said, desperation creeping in. My family has donated millions. And that's exactly the problem, Robert cut in. You think money erases cruelty. But it doesn't. Privilege doesn't excuse humiliation. You've disgraced not only yourself, but the very values this institution stands for. The room fell silent again. Madison's eyes darted around, searching for support, but her friends looked away. Even the professors she once flattered refused to meet her gaze. Olivia took a trembling breath, her voice soft but sure. I didn't want this to turn into a scene. I just wanted to celebrate, like everyone else. But maybe this needed to happen. Maybe people needed to see the difference between arrogance and achievement. Robert placed a gentle hand on her shoulder, pride flickering in his eyes. You've shown them what true strength looks like, Olivia. Not through anger, but through grace. The applause began slowly, a single clap echoing from the back row. Then another. Then dozens. Within seconds, the entire hall was on its feet. The sound grew, swelling into a roar that shook the walls. Students stood. Parents cheered. Professors joined in. It wasn't just applause, it was vindication. Madison stumbled backward, pale and hollow-eyed, drowned in the thunderous approval meant for the girl she'd tried to humiliate. Robert turned to the crowd, his voice calm but firm, carrying over the noise. Let today be remembered, not for cruelty or status, but for character. For a young woman who proved that integrity will always outshine privilege. Olivia looked up at him, tears brimming but her smile steady. Together, they walked toward the stage, father and daughter side by side, as the applause rolled on. Madison Pierce sank into her seat, forgotten in a hall that now belonged entirely to Olivia Brooks, the girl who had earned it all.